In this video, let's learn about customizing results by implementing the IResult interface. So what we have learned so far is to really just use the results class that provides all those status code, and inside the body we're just returning the object itself, which is going to be serialized into JSON. But this only helps us to create API endpoints, right? Because API endpoints usually expect JSON. But what if, for example, we want to use this simple approach and create us some HTML, right? I'm returning hello world, but this hello world is actually text, right? It's not HTML. So how do we get HTML from it? We can create a HTML result class that implements the IResult interface. And then by implementing the interface, we can prepare any response that we want. Okay, so let's try to do that. Let's go to Solution Explorer, and then maybe let's create a result folder in case we have other type of results. So create a result folder, and inside the folder, let's create a class, and let's call it HTML result. And now we can implement the IResult interface. All right. And here we do a control dot and then hit enter to implement the interface. All we need to do is to implement this interface. But in order to help us to create the results, remember, we need to feed HTML string into this class. So one of the best way to do it is to feed through the constructor here. So here I'm going to have a string parameter and then let the user pass in the HTML. And here I'm going to do a control dot again to use Visual Studio to help us to create this. So I'm going to say create an assign field HTML. So it's automatically going to do the work for me. I don't have to manually type these lines. Okay, so now inside the class, we have a field, and this field is going to store the HTML. And then we can implement this method. So when we implement this method, we need to change the response to reflect the HTML. But first of all, remember to specify the content type. So because we have access to the context object, so we can do anything about it. Here, we can use response and then content type, and then specify text/HTML. This will create the body that with the HTML media type. And then we can say response content length. Yes, we need to specify the content length. What we can do about it is we can say encoding.utf8 and then bytes, and then provide the HTML in it. Then it will return, well, not get byte, but get byte count. Okay, so this works. Now, finally, we will need to say HTTP context.response, and then we write the HTML to it. So we're going to say write async, and then we provide the HTML field to it. And then now we use the async keyword to enable the await keyword over here. All right, so we have the HTML result class created. Now what we can do is we can go to program.cs. Then let's use the root path, right, for the get method here, and let's create something better. So here I'm going to specify the result as HTML result. Okay, and then I'm going to have my string HTML hard-coded here. I'm going to say h2 welcome to our API, and then on the second line, maybe we introduce our API. So our API is used to learn ASP.NET Core, something like this, right? So this would demonstrate that we're actually spitting out HTML. Okay, once we have this HTML, we are going to return a new HTML result by feeding the HTML string into it, and then let's run it and give it a try. All right, so our page is displayed on the other screen. So you can see it's right here. Welcome to our API. Our API is used to learn ASP.NET Core. If you go to F12 developer tool and refresh it, you can see that the result comes back is indeed HTML here. And then in the headers, the response headers, you can see the content type is text/HTML. Server is Castro server, which is ASP.NET Core. All right, that's everything I want to show you. That's pretty simple. Just remember to implement the IResult interface, and then at your endpoint here, you need to specify this result type. All right, I will see you in the next one.